Okay, my name is Bob Miles, and I started work from school in 1961 in the cotton factory as an apprentice. I lived in Whitcomb, so it was quite a journey. As the bus only went by every 2.5 hours, so it was self-propelled to get here. It's where I met Barry and lots of other people who became friends, and it was a really nice place to work with fond memories.
Excuse me. I'm Barry Gray, and I started in 1961, same as Bob. And all I can do is sort of agree with what he's just said. It was a very good place to work for, especially for young lads like us who were into the motorbikes and the riding and that. I lived just outside Frampton-on-Severn, so it was a 8-mile cycle ride in and 8-mile cycle ride back out every day, including the Saturday morning, which is part of our working week.
So, obviously the factory's gone now, and it doesn't, it's unfortunate a car park. So how big was it? Was it like when you walked in it, was it full of machinery, or was it just... I find it hard to visualise.
It wasn't super duper big. It was big if you come from, the first big factory I've been in, I suppose. When you came in, there was like a reception office, and then some stairs down to the entrance loading bay, and you turned right into the assembly bay, where there was 4 or 5 benches with bikes being assembled.
Yeah.
And if you went the other way upstairs, up 2 flights of stairs, reverse, and then upstairs was the welding bay, and frame making, bending, and profile cutting, and some lathes. And then an alleyway to the back to a separate building, Barry, wasn't it? There was the spray
booth.
Spray booth with I can't remember how many booths it was. There was 2 ovens, I think.
There's 2 ovens. There was 2 booths, and there was 2 ovens, both run by gas, which would be expensive now to run.
I remember those because we used to get in early and go stand in them to get warm in the winter.
Yeah.
Summer.
Well, it probably did, but we didn't. We went in early in the morning, frozen to death from a bike ride or something, and put your overalls on, or go in there and get nice and warm to go and start the day's work.
Yeah.
Because there was no heating in the building.
There's no heating in the factory at all.
No heating, no insulation, I suppose, either.
No, probably single pane in the windows.
We had braziers downstairs, didn't we?
We had
Which used to stink the place out.
What was the places?
Coke braziers.
Yeah.
On the floor, then in the assembly.
I can't remember. I know upstairs we had those oven, stove like that in the middle. But we also had the forge in the middle of the thing.
That's right, yeah.
So what do the assembly tables look like?
Sorry?
Were the assembly tables wood or metal?
Yeah, just wooden benches, yeah.
Like this, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But made of wood,
Yeah.
Would you have, when you're working there, and would you get assemble a whole bike?
Yes, yeah.
So you it's not like these days where you get one job to, I don't know.
Yeah, no. The
Well,
store would see what was next Continental competition bike, and he would put out the complete kit, and then you picked from that kit. They built it, yeah.
So did you make the parts in-house?
Yeah, the engine was made, obviously. And the
engine was coming as a unit. Yeah.
Tanks, wheels, forks, and basically we made the frames, didn't we?
Yeah.
And all the operating parts.
Yeah.
And that stuff upstairs in welding?
Yeah.
It was upstairs, yeah.
There was pipe bending. One of my first jobs as a junior, we call young bloke, was bending tube, and you'd bend it by hand, if you put it in,
It was
a stop here,
all cold bent. It was all.
and you just bent it round till you came to a stop.
Yeah.
And then that was taken over and chucked down behind the welder to make him jump, and and then he made put them into the frame, whether it was single frame or duplex, whatever. And the seat platforms were bent as well, right? That was quite a job.
Yeah. We used to get gas deliveries because it was obviously in bottles.
Yeah.
We used to back the lorry in because we had big double opening doors.
And this was just over the back.
Just
Over the
over
back,
Right
back
opposite
in.
the Quay Street in Ryan.
Yeah. And there's a trap door upstairs. And they used to open the trap door, and the winch used to come down, screw it. winding back up.
Wind it. I'm with them.
Frightening, really.
Health and safety.
Wouldn't be allowed now.
You know, no.
So they do reckon, somebody told me that Bill Cotton would run upstairs with a cinder on his back. But that's probably just a folk tale.
He'd be a good man if he could do that, because there was 2 flights of
It
stairs.
was hard, wasn't it? Draper rode his bike over.
Everything as well. Gas.
Yeah.
Cylinder.
So what you was talking about Bill Cotton? Did you ever meet Bill Cotton?
I didn't really know.
I see him in the factory, but as meet him, no.
Was he quite a distant person? Because I heard he was quite shy.
Possibly, but we didn't see much of the managing director. We saw the works director. The managing director was in his office. You know, so
He was quite segregated.
but not in a bad way.
Yeah,
It's just
say,
how
no,
work
we
was.
mentioned it was social
Yeah.
enough, but yeah, they were away from where we
Yeah.
were working. Like, yeah.
Did you ever meet sort of Pat and Niels?
Met Pat, yeah, Pat
well,
was
he
fine.
was
Yeah,
like, yeah,
really,
he was all right.
yeah,
He was all right. As long as you didn't get the wrong side of him.
yeah.
He was all right. I spent a lot of time with that. Yeah.
He was a bit frightening when I first met him because he was probably as big as me, wasn't he? Then, no, I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, yeah.
And shock of air, striking. He was a striking chap, you know.
Yeah.
But he was very good, very good.
Yeah.
In fact, we had some good laughs later on.
Yeah.
I think we've got a photo of him actually with the Cotton vehicle.
That old cotton van
Oh,
downstairs,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Remember that?
Pete Atkinson, yeah.
I wonder where that is now.
Yeah.
Scrap that.
Probably.
Yeah.
He was sent to India to make
Might have been, yeah.
railway lines out of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But no, Pat was fine, wasn't he?
yeah.
And all the
He was all right.
blokes.
He enjoyed a laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He was all right.
And I'm not sure how many welders there was upstairs. There was a couple of pieces electric welding, other people brazing the frames up.
Yeah.
It was Phil Palmer profile cutting the bits out, wasn't he?
Yeah. It was Phil's job. Yeah.
And so when he's gone,
How many people do you reckon working on the floor then? I mean, you'd have, you know, like 20, 30, something like that. Was it more bigger than that?
Well, when we first went there, the machine shop was only weekends, wasn't it?
yeah,
Shop. He only used to
Yeah.
come in with a couple of his mates.
yeah, that's right, yeah.
But there would have been Phil, Eric,
Derek,
Derek,
Jordan,
and Arthur over the other side.
Arthur, yeah.
And was there a shop, a Scotch lad welding, wasn't it?
It was Geordie as well,
Yeah.
at one time,
There would have been about 7, I suppose, upon them.
up there.
Up there, like.
And then there was 2 in the spray shop, one there, and there was 4 or 5 downstairs. So
Yeah.
it varied between probably a dozen and 20, you know. If it was,
Yeah.
There's a few more, because when I came, another lad came. Then a bit later on, Billy Andrews and another lad came. So there's more of us upstairs. But then, and there was Fluff, of course, outside in the.
Yeah, fluffed it at the back.
And we used to do a little bit of work for Gloucester or something.
Yeah, because when Jock Young, he retired from there, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he brought a bit of work in, so they had subcontracting work on the machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do work in there for other firms, would you? Is that what you mean, or the other way around? You get other firms coming in and getting you to do work for them. Is that?
Yeah,
They
they'd
did.
send materials for us to, or we'd have materials to make stuff for people.
Yeah.
But on a weekend, the chap who was the only machinist when I went there, 2 of his friends from GAC came, I think, because in fact my brother married one of them's daughter, funnily enough. Very small world. But they'd come in, wouldn't they, and
Yeah.
work weekends, earn a bit of extra cash.
Ah, I see.
And then I went onto the machines, learning how to be a machinist. And so then I was working on that towards the end, probably all day with me and Jock. Turning out, you know, you have to, certain parts of the bike has to be turned out, obviously machined. Not that much really, but we were still busy, and we were cutting off tubes to the correct length then instead of using a hacksaw as well.
But
You know, trying to make a nice clean end of it for the welders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was. I can't remember an exact figure, but it could have been anywhere between 12 and 20 on depending, couldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
so what kind of bikes did you work on? So you said Continental.
Well, we made bits for every model in the machine shop or in the frame in the tube bending.
Yeah.
Bits for every model.
Yeah.
Which
then-
ones did you put together? Was there any particular models you put? But did you
I didn't.
specialise on?
I didn't. I never worked in the assembly bay actually. Only as a sort of
We put tyres on.
things like and not as a permanent job. I might have went down there to help out, but I didn't have the job permanently. But yeah, you'd have the stand, the bench like this, and then a stand to sit the frame on, wouldn't you?
So, yeah.
And you put the forks on first, was it? Or?
Swinging arm,
Swinging
frame upside down, put the swinging arm in, turn it back over, front forks on, then the footrest, so you can lift it up onto the stand if
Yeah.
it's a competition bike, front wheel in, and then back wheel engine, whichever you wanted to do then.
Yeah.
But that was it was a frame upside down, swinging arm in upside down, make sure you have it upside down.
So there wasn't like one person that did all the Continentals and another person that did the
No.
Continental. You just mix and match.
Yeah, you done whatever was next to be done. Like, you couldn't sort of do that because whatever the orders was, if you had 6 Continentals over there and there wasn't any going out, and you wanted 4
Yeah,
double Gloucesters and there wasn't any, so you had to do what was,
coming up.
yeah.
I mean, by today's standards, the safety precautions were non-existent, weren't they?
Yeah.
When in the spray area, there was an open acid bath, wasn't there?
Yeah.
You should drop the frames in after they've been brazed up to get all the flux and everything else done. And then so you'd have a little hole drilled in the, if any water got in, that to be able to get out. So it'd be a little hole drilled. They came out of the acid bath and went straight into a hot water tank, which was only take it out of there, turn around and put it in there, wasn't it, to neutralise the acid.
Yeah.
Anything that was greasy,
Do
that
it
was
with a big pair of gloves on, right?
that stuff.
Trichoethylene.
Trichoethylene bath, which you didn't dare sniff that, or you didn't need to go up Barton Street to score if you sniffed that anyway. Sorry, I've read that out.
It was deadly.
It must have been quite strong, lots of strong smells in there. And
Probably why I've lost my sense of smell, yeah.
If you'd have been working there for half an hour, say, you would have been,
Yeah.
you would have felt
yeah,
quite woozy. It wasn't safe, was it? Really?
Not really, no.
Didn't
Unsupervised, that was the thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
didn't have ventilation then. Except
In the window.
Up the wind. There's always a bit of flames in the roof.
That was another thing. They'd sprayed, and they had a fan in the back, extractor fan, but it was going out into the yard. Cars out there, and
You'd go in a different colour car than when you came in.
well, you learn not to. Well, we had push points, but you learn.
where to park and where not to park.
Yeah.
Unless you want to fresh paint jobs.
Yeah.
But all in all, it was good fun, wasn't it, really?
It was a real good fun place to work. Yeah. And Colin, God bless him, when he came up, he worked for Collins's down at Truro, Collins Brothers.
That's Colin Dominic. Yeah. Colin Dominic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he came to work for us via Westbury.
By Westwood was it?
Yeah. And I would think Collins would put money into Collins Brothers, because they used to come up every so often to meetings. And you knew when they were coming up, because 3 or 4 days before, Colin Dominic used to say to us, "What are you doing on such and such a night? Got to go to Tamworth and pick up 3 Reliant Robin 3-wheel cars." Because they were coming up and they were agents for Reliance.
Yeah.
We used to go up and bring them back to Gloucester, and the Collins brothers used to come up with a couple of drivers, mechanics, whatever, in a big car. They used to go on with 2 or 3 Reliants back down to Truro, and they used to have their meetings. Yeah. I don't know, what do we get, 10 bob a night or something for doing that?
Yeah. I know that.
I don't know how we got away with that, because we never took trade plates with us, as far as I can remember.
No.
But yeah, you finish work at 5:30.
Yeah.
Get in Collins Mini, whenever many of us would need it. Go up to Tamworth, and then he used to sign these cars out at Tamworth to come back to.
No, wow. They're all Reliant 3 meters, were they?
Yeah. You done it, didn't you? Your kid's 17, 18, like, Yeah, that's the way you do
So
that.
when did you finish work at Cotton? When did you finish work at
I done 4.5 years there. You needed the money. The wages weren't good, so I went to work for British Rail then. So that's where I went. But
Yeah.
we still kept in touch. I mean, I met Jim Timms through working with Fluff and going to the Scrambles and that. And I eventually went to work for him for a good number of years. And I still see him now.
Hmm.
You know, we're quite friendly, pick the phone up one another. Yeah, yeah.
I did probably about 4 years, and I went and worked for Bryce Berger in their machine shop.
My dad worked for Gloucester.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was working on the lathe section. I know which section.
Yeah.
No, and I did go back and work
Before I
back
was
at Collins
born.
again. No, and I don't know why it must have got busy and they wanted a machinist. I went back and worked there for a little while.
What did you?
Yeah, well, but once again, you know, the wages were more attractive elsewhere, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sadly,
Is that because they were struggling, or is that because?
It's hard to compete with the big companies, isn't it?
well, I suppose it was, you know, that time was in history, the 60s, and of course, and the Japanese bikes were coming in, then starting to come in, which were more attractive. And the British bike industry as a whole was a bit slow. Yeah, it's slow to catch up with the fact that electric cars is a good idea.
Motorcycle industry was
Yeah.
going down then.
Yeah,
I mean, even the big companies, your Triumphs, PSAs, and Normans, they were all in a small firm like us, or like
Yeah.
Collins.
yeah,
You wanted somebody invested in
yeah.
it.
There was no investment. And
I mean,
the lathe I worked on at first was driven by a belt from the pulley up there.
yeah,
So there'd be an engine driving this big long shaft,
yeah,
and there'd been other wheels on it driving another belt coming down, driving the machine you were working on.
yeah.
There's a belt slapping away all the time, you know.
Yeah, with old machinery and probably.
And it was all
It was a machinery from prior to Pat and Monty taking over.
Wow.
I mean,
And we went and bought a lathe at Hemel or somewhere. And I went with Pat, Derek Sollers was his name?
yeah,
Derek and Jock in Pat's Anglia 105E.
yeah. That's what you got.
And we had to manhandle this machine out as a building on rollers. And then a crane lifted onto the lorry to bring it back to Gloucester. And then, how the devil we got it upstairs, I don't know.
You know,
Must have taken it to pieces.
you wouldn't have
There was a vertical mill downstairs.
Yeah,
It might have been that vertical mill then, that's what I knew. You wouldn't have got the lathe in. There was no way, was there? I'd take one.
they did, didn't they, years ago?
Yeah.
Rinsed it up.
Must,
Yeah, some, but I don't know where they got it in. Because
Where's away?
the windows weren't opening, were they?
They must. No, I don't. I've no idea.
The only thing I regret, you don't think it, well, I don't regret it, but at the time, there's a third story up in like an attic place. And the number of old frames that used to be up there,
Pre-war.
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
There must have been 30
Yeah.
Be worth. Yeah.
old jigs.
Yeah.
They've got scratch probably, did they?
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah,
But nostalgia was still a thing of the future then, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
But there was one that we used to go up there for bits and pieces, like, yeah. They walked up there and you,
We had to get out of the way.
well, I've been a gold mine now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd love one of those frames.
Yeah. Well, I know always said though, a different era, wasn't it, of people, and they didn't care about stuff, especially after the war. It was like, oh, just get rid of that old rubbish, getting new stuff. You know,
That's right.
That's what it was like.
Yeah.
And it's all the nostalgia.
Yeah.
More recent.
It was right through to the 60s, I think. People, you know, I don't know.
Just get rid of all the old
Yeah.
rubbish and get rid
Yeah.
of
Everyone
People
wanted
wanted
it if they could. Yeah.
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 Ah, it's really interesting.
Thank you so much.
That's,
Thank you for your insight.
sorry?
Thank you for your insight.
That's fine. It's just a few little memories.
Yeah, it's good.
Somebody reminded me of.
Yeah.
But it was pity really that because going to events and everything, you bumped into people, you know, bumped into Roddy Rees and Fred Five-Ash and
Yeah.
Freddie helped me when I went and bought a car in Dursley off George Fry. You bumped into people, but then you drifted apart, and it's pity really that we didn't keep there wasn't a
Yeah.
cotton thing then, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because it must have been what, 20 years. Last time,
Yeah.
first time last time I saw you, when I saw you, get
Yeah,
these.
must have been, yeah.
All of that.
Yeah,
All of that.
Yeah, because Cotton Rally's only been going for 29 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, a bit of a count.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
It's good that you're keeping it going actually in the museum.
Just, for me, it's such an interesting story. It's almost more about the people rather than
Yeah.
The machines themselves are kind of a way to tell the story. It's people like Cotton and Pat Onions,
Onions definitely is.
interesting characters.
Yeah.
You know, built. You know, like being really.
And Eric Lee, he's a bit of a man of mystery, isn't he? Nobody knows where he came from. Or,
Eric?
yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't. Well, he was
the sort of chief engineer, if you like.
Yeah.
Pat was the works manager, Eric was the chief engineer.
Mm.
But he was all right, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, got on with them, yeah. When he left Collins, he went to be a steward at the BMI club at Upton.
He did, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a
Change of
strange.
scenery or change of career, isn't it? But, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It was Fluff then. You just kept mentioning Fluff.
Fluff.
Dave Brown.
Fluff Brown. I know what you call Fluff. He looked after all the competition bikes.
He was another very good engineer, though, wasn't
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Very
But he was self-taught, wasn't he?
Mm.
Excuse me, 'cause he was actually a carpenter by trade. Yeah, what can you say about Fluff? He was another character,
he?
wasn't
He was a character, yeah.
he?
But he was.
So they did make them as well, or just dealt with the sort of the racing side of the business?
I tell you, I mean, he'd come into the assembly bay when it was tea break and have a cup of tea. We'd all sort of sit
Yeah.
there for 10 minutes together. And
Because would you say there's that kind of divide were there people that purely worked on the competition side of things, or everybody did everything?
Only Fluff.
only Fluff,
Mm.
basically. I mean,
Eric
if a
did.
bike went on a Monday morning, wash the bikes off, it was a muddy scramble or something like that. But yeah,
Eric was in the design and make of every model, wasn't he?
yeah.
Well, yes, if you're that smaller company, like only 12 or 20 people, everyone else just do
Well, yeah,
whatever
that's
needed
it.
to be done.
You mixed in a match. Yeah, you done what was asked to do.
Yeah.
Or what you were able to do. Like, yeah.
That's quite
Yeah.
nice, isn't it? It's like,
But,
it's like to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, Fluff done a lot of development with Villiers on the Star Maker engine.
Yeah.
When he went to work for.
He was just, he was, what John Kidd to say, he had oil in his fingers, you know.
Yeah.
He knew it all, just
Yeah,
in
yeah.
his,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
For a lorry to back
Yeah.
in. And to the side of that, there was a door
Normal size.
which went up into the reception area. 4, 5, 6 steps,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then on again, you had the pathway up the side to go out of the car.
When you backed in to that loading bay, the bed of the lorry was that level was where they backed up to, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
And because you walked up the side slope, you came in on that level as well, didn't you?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been having a look at it.
Oh,
And that was given to me by Charles Cotton, who's a descendant, so you should get him on the film, really.
Yeah. We've recorded them previously, but we've
yeah, I've still got that. Yeah. It was a bit rushed, wasn't it? That was the problem, I think. I was looking for old photos of Gloucester. Like, you find loads of the main streets, but you can't find any down in the work areas.
No.
And even like the docks, there aren't that many from when it was a working place, you know? People just didn't.
It was a nice little community, actually, because Stan Parker had the tyre place.
Yeah.
I became friends with him, and then he came and had his tyre place in the garage I was running at Public Club. And we had Dennis Ibbotson doing some welding
Yeah.
in a little place. I don't think he did it for us, he did it mainly for the milk marketing board around the corner. But he was famous in Gloucester rugby, and they reckon he was the only man that Cliff Morgan, which you probably never heard of, because Welsh rugby player, was the only man he was frightened of was Dennis. And if you looked at Dennis's hands, that would have been his straightest finger. Apparently he was a demon tackler.
Ah.
But then Bob Timms played rugby for Gloucester.
Played for Gloucester, yeah.
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 Rugby's another strong part of Gloucester.
Oh, yeah. We were in talks, but COVID happened, it's all gone dead, but we were trying to get rugby heritage in here to just give them some space. We probably still do that, you know.
Yeah.
Because dead opposite the factory was the morgue, wasn't it? Mortuary.
It was down a little bit.
Well, it was down a bit, but it was on the other side of the road.
Yeah, when
Because Rodney
Chandler's coaches, wasn't it?
Just
Yeah,
Cathedral
and
porches. It's just here, yeah. Yeah.
It's a wine store now, isn't it?
Pardon?
Is it a wine store now or something? I think.
Wouldn't surprise
It's probably natural coolness.
me. Yeah.
Mind you, where we've got our bar in here now, that used to be, they used to make coffins in there. And, yeah, it's a funeral directors.
Yeah.
So you probably stored in here as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
These buildings, did all kinds of things.
So many stories, and that's part of the joy for us. It's telling us on the stories. Problem is, there's so many stories to tell.
Yeah.
It's trying to do, trying to pick them and do them really well. There's no point trying to tell a story half-hearted.
No, that's right. No, you'd be like the BBC News then, wouldn't you? Only telling us half the story.
Yeah. I quite like it because obviously the buildings are really old, it's 500 years old, but cotton, well, like you speak to you guys, it's still sort of current. And it's, 500 years ago, it's hard to imagine that, but the 60s and 70s and all. Well, it seems long ago to me, but there you go.
I don't know if there's any more ex-workers from down there.
There's none that we're in contact with, I wouldn't have thought.
Not now. Billy's gone,
No.
Colin's gone.
Because we recorded a couple about 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think you had Colin and Billy in that, because I came up and you did me.
Yeah.
And then I went down and said, they want you upstairs. And they went and you thought, hopefully you grabbed them.
Was that me?
David.
And the man from Cross Engineering was here as well.
Oh, right.
What's the friend that you say you were still in contact with?
Phone number.
The guy you're still in contact with.
Well, he was the works rider.
Yeah.
Jim Tim?
Jim Timms.
Yeah.
He'll probably be hovering around here sometime. He usually turns up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great if you can have a conversation with him at some point.
Yeah, it would, if you can persuade him.
Yeah, he'll talk, yeah.
It's just that
Do you, have you got any bikes? And you got any cotton bikes yourself? Do you just...
No, I wish I'd kept mine, but when we came, there's another chap here called John Pye, who's here as well. We both had Morris's and pickups. And it was after I left working here, but we bought five cottons in a row, but we only picked up 4. We couldn't buy them from the factory, we had to buy them from Mark and Davis Motorcycles in Barton Street, but they never saw them. We came and picked them up in kit form, which was a way of avoiding purchase tax in those days. And on every Susan, there's between the clutch pedal and the clutch operator and the cylinder, whatever it was, there's a little rod about that long with a bent end, and the slip spin and split pin just to hold it in place. And when we got here, just as we got, John Pye's broke. It was hanging down underneath. And I just went in with the old bits and I said to Pat, "Can I make one of these?" He said, "Yeah, carry on." Made one, we fitted it and drove home again. Like, it couldn't have, anywhere else he'd have broken down, we'd have been neatly knackered. Yeah.
That's lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't still got your Morris picked up either.
No. Yeah.
They're worth a fortune, those things.
That was another one. That was my brother worked in MG garage, so that was we had 100 off the head, and that went well.
Well, Freddie made his pickup, wasn't it? He had a 55 pickup, which is a 4-cylinder engine, and he fitted a Westminster 6-cylinder. That used to fly.
Yeah, I bet.
Frightening, because there's no brakes in it.
Well, he's still around. You're not on Facebook, aren't you?
No.
No, Fred is.
Yeah, I know he is, yeah.
Yeah, because he puts a bit on.
Yeah.
Not that was you were friends with him more because he lived with you.
No, he lived with us, yeah. Stayed with us for however long.
I've got a classic Mini, which is sat in my garage at the moment, that I've owned since I was 22. Something like that.
Yeah.
Looking sorry for itself, but that's my next project, get that thing back on the road.
The problem I had is, like a lot of people, I suppose, in their 60s, if you wanted to change bikes, you had to use your existing bike as a deposit. So you got rid of it. So I should have built a big shed and kept them, really.
Well, it's the same. I think by all the cars I own,
Yeah.
if I could have kept them now, but you get rid of them and bought something new, and you
Yeah.
get faster now. You don't realise at the time.
Yeah.
Bought a car for.
Jim's actually got a Cougar
Ah,
down in his shed, yeah.
Yeah.
But he bought it off of Paul Powell.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Paul didn't ask him if he could borrow it for this weekend.
Hey, should have done.
So I'm sure he'd have said, yeah, take it. But,
I just find the factory particularly interesting because we got this idea of trying to make it look like a mock factory. So I find it interesting because there's so few photos of the factory. You kind of want it to look a bit like it, but
There was something in the Citizen sometime ago, wasn't there, a bit before the war, I think. And that had quite a lot of people in that assembly bay, I think.
Yeah.
But they might have been using upstairs then, you see, might they? They might have,
No, I don't know.
when Bill Cotton was running it. And in the war, they were just repairing army boats, I think, weren't they?
Everything.
Kept them going, didn't it?
Yeah.
During that period.
I don't know whether, going back to saying the morgue was the other side, basically, you could trace that back through local.
Yeah.
You may see pictures of the factory there.
Sure. Yeah, you can see.
Yeah.
That's a good
Because it had,
And Rowley Chandler's coaches, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
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 It's all gone, all those buildings, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all the car park.
Yeah.
Well, the old customers was restarted, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to give a bit of the Kia. The cotton factories where the white hoarding is, isn't it?
So is it what?
The cotton factories where the white hoarding is.
It's,
correct?
if you came down, whatever, is that, this, which, is this lower
So
Quay
this is
Street?
Lower Quay Street.
But the other
That's
one,
Quay
Quay
Street.
Street.
Yeah.
You know, Quay- you come down that one, those double doors were directly in front of you, weren't
They
they?
didn't.
So if you come down and you went up the side, which is like going up that wording, as you say, up the side, around to the car park.
Just over there, past that tree.
No, those hoardings, that's where the lane went up the side, yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
So it was in front
Went
of
up the side, it was a council, well, they stored cars in there, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Because they used to have a garage there.
That's it, yeah.
Just garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to drive up the side, went round into our car park, and it stopped in front of us because we used to put our bike snack, didn't we? On it?
Yeah, well, that's done.
Then there's this brick building, but a ramp up into that building next to
Yeah.
it.
Remember the council carriage before they-
Yeah, it was council, yeah.
Yeah, you went under a little archway into our car park, which was the entrance from the top store of the factory into the spray bin.
That's right, yeah. Yeah.